Good evening, everyone. Sheikh Faleigh here again. Thanks for viewing. Thanks for following us for all this while. Tonight we have a special guest, Joey Ghazlan. Joey, how are you, man?
I'm very well, Faleigh, and it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you very much for inviting me to share this moment with you.
Oh yes, we are very thrilled with your news that you're going to share later. But guys, I think most of you know Joey. He's an entertainment personality, and the most important thing is he is the father who wants to fight for his rights. Yes.
Indeed, I am. Indeed, I am. And what a fight it's been, Faleigh. What a fight it has been and continues to be.
I know. Give me goosebumps. Just share with us your great news first.
Well, the great news, which timely, which is great, is today we just received the court order from the High Court of Malaysia awarding me full custody of my daughter. Full sole custody, guardianship, and care and control of my daughter. So it's a lovely day today. I mean, yeah. I would say it's nice that we've sort of come to the end of this long sort of tunnel, and it's definitely good to be out the other side with the result better than what we actually wanted, because all this sort of while we want to go for shared custody, right? And we actually got better than what we were seeking. So yeah, good, very good, very good result.
And how long is the journey again? You've been fighting for this?
Wow, it's exactly 3 years. It's exactly 3 years. October 2018 was the first court case that I experienced in my journey for custody or to have a relationship with my daughter, and it's 3 years to the month exactly.
I know it's maybe it might be painful to talk about the past, but I do want, if possible, you share with the fathers out there that there is still hope.
Yeah, there is hope. I mean, look, at the end of the day, your child is your child, and that's never going to change. And I think it may... Look, let me start. I would say that I've had a lot of ups and downs in my journey. There has been a lot of highs and a lot of lows. And the thing about that is when you get the lows are really, they're low, and sometimes the lows can get so low that it will sort of make you think about wanting to continue on, or are you doing the right thing, or maybe you want to give up because it's too emotionally stressful, it's too mentally stressful, it's too financially stressful. There's so many factors in this. But the thing is that your child is your child. And I think any real loving parent, be it a father or a mother, will do everything they can to be a part of their child's life, right? So yeah, I think, it's been 3 years for me, but it could have been a lot quicker had the other party not put up such a huge resistance. And it's unfortunate that when you get in a situation where two parents are fighting, that one parent puts up a lot of resistance, and it just creates for a very messy situation, which can kind of prolong things out. And then, of course, when you factor in lawyers who use their legal abilities or legal skills to prolong things even further, the main thing is that I think you need to look. This is not a 100-meter sprint; it's a marathon. So you've got to really go into this with the long game mentality and expect to be in it for a long time, but know that the end result, the goal, where you're trying to get to, the final destination is the ultimate prize, which is the relationship with your child, right? And I think, as I said before, I think any loving father who really wants to be with his child can stay on that path. And as long as you fight the good fight, and you're being honest, you're fighting a good fight, and you're doing what's right for your relationship with your child, then I think that it will make the journey a lot easier. Yeah. Although the time, it can be anything, you could be in a custody battle for 3 months, 6 months, right up to 10 years, Yeah. So the main thing is not to lose focus and keep your eye on the goal, and that is to ultimately have a relationship with your child.
I believe you do have experience with good and bad experience with lawyers.
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Any advice to fathers out there when they are looking for the right lawyers? Is there any right lawyer, or what is your opinion on that?
Well, Yeah, I think there is a right lawyer for everyone, to be honest with you. I mean, look, there's a few factors as well. You know, some lawyers are driven heavily by how much money they might be able to make from you. Some lawyers are driven by the passion, by morals, to do what's right, you know, to reconnect the parent with their child. Some lawyers are just, dare I say it, very dirty lawyers who just want to make money and don't care to get in between two parties and make a big mess while draining you of your funds. So yeah, picking the right lawyer for you is definitely important. And on my journey, I've gone through a bunch of different lawyers, and all for different reasons. None of them bad, to be honest with you. But the firm that managed to get me the full custody, which was Lowen Partners, and specifically a lawyer or a partner in the firm called Lee Kim. You know, I was very fortunate that they had empathy for my situation and they understood my situation. And funnily enough, you know, they were a group of female lawyers. When I went to meet them, I sat in an office of about 6 female lawyers, and they shared in my pain, and they understood what I was going through, and they knew that, well, they don't agree with any parent, be it a mother or a father, being separated from the child, and they are against parental alienation. So going back to your question, when it comes to finding a lawyer, it's nice to obviously align yourself or pick a lawyer who definitely has the same opinions as you, who can empathize with your situation, and ultimately can, in some sense, somewhat kind of feel the pain you're going through and want to do the best job they possibly can for you within a reasonable payment structure, if you know what I mean. Because, you know, like going through this type of battle for years, it can be quite costly, right? And not all of us have the money to burn or the money that we can just pay out. And of course, you know, if you get the right lawyers, you can pay in installments and you can make some type of arrangement. And so, yeah, there's many factors that goes into picking the right lawyer. So I would definitely suggest for anyone who's getting into this journey, who's embarking on it for the first time, you know, make sure you do spend that little bit of extra time in meeting up with a few different firms, and you just kind of get a feel, because you can kind of tell who's in it because they really believe in the problem, or who's in it because they just think, right, okay, you know, I can make some money off of this person and let's go.
Yeah, I think that is, I mean, of course, you're talking out of experience, and it's very true when you say that there will be always a right lawyer for you. You just need to keep on looking, and don't give up. And you know, there's hundreds and thousands of lawyers outside there, and the chemistry just have to be right.
Exactly. And I think like a great example of that is a friend of mine who's now become my friend. He's going through the same situation that I've been going through, the exact same, which funnily enough, he's going through the same situation for his child. And the opposing lawyers are the same lawyers that I was up against, which is funny. And so anyway,
you can give him so many notes.
Yeah, we did. We were sharing notes and stuff, but actually, the thing is with that is that what was working for me didn't necessarily work for him, meaning that I introduced him to a legal firm that were great for me. And, you know, when he went and he met and he didn't feel like, okay, maybe this is not the right firm for me, I'm going to go another firm. And that's a great example of it, is that what might work for one person may not work for another person. And ultimately, you just got to have confidence in the team that you do get, and, you know, let them do their job, and, you know, be patient and get the result that you want.
Yeah. I saw one of your Instagram live, and when you were speaking about your experience, there are so many female and male grown up who have gone through parental alienation when they were a child.
Yeah, yeah.
And they share many stories with you, where some is very shocking that you shared with me, and tonight I do want other fathers to listen on some of the comment that, or some of the stories that they have shared with you. Do you mind share some of them?
Yeah, sure. I have them actually next door. If you just give me a minute, let me go and grab them, and I'll give me 1 second. Yeah.
yeah, sure. So guys, some stories that Joey shared with me is very touching, and I want him to share tonight, so that all the viewers, mothers, fathers, children who can see some of the effect that a child grew up with when they were alienated by their parents, either mother or father.
You see, let me give the backstory on this. Is that how this all came about? Is yes, I did an Instagram live, and it was immediately after my I lost at the Court of Appeal.
Yeah.
And I lost at the Court of Appeal based on the law that says a child under the age of 7 should be with the mother, so on. And I came out and I was speaking about it. And one of the comments that I made in that Instagram live is that I said that the court say that they're doing what's in the best interest or the best welfare of the child. And this is the reason they make the decisions that they make, even if it means that the decision that they make ultimately cuts out one parent because of the way the other parent is conducting themselves.
Yeah.
And I said that actually what they don't realize is that the courts are not doing what's in the best welfare of the child. They're actually prolonging any issues that might come, because all they're doing is they're delaying it. They're delaying the effect, and the effect will happen later on in the life. And, you know, I obviously had a lot of viewers that were watching at the time, and that obviously resonated with a lot of people. And so lots and lots of people started reaching out to me and sharing their stories with me. And what I was surprised to find is that exactly what I said was that the court says, as a child, you know, we're going to make this decision, which ultimately cuts out the other parent when one parent is being malicious and spiteful. Then are they really doing what's in the best interest or the welfare of a child? I said that all they're doing is pushing it down the line. And sure enough, if you look here, this is only some, right? You can see, like, I've got pages and pages and pages. Look, pages. Look, this is each and every one of these is an individual message, direct message that I got from some person who was separated from their father due to the courts awarding the mother custody, or so a child who was separated from their parent because one parent was malicious and cut the other parent out and tried to alienate that child from that parent. So basically what I have here is these are adults. These are people who are married, who have their own children, who are grown adults, who share the scars that they received going through this same process, which is a shame, really, because I think, like, you know, if the courts could actually see this, and if it could be, what's the word? If it could be put out, blasted out there so that the courts could actually see that, okay, great. Yeah, you're saying what you're doing is the best welfare of a child because the child may be 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. But when the child gets older, there is an issue. They have issues as adults. And so let me just, I'll read out a couple, you know, like.
Yeah, please do.
Some of them are like pretty harsh, actually. Like,
when we edit tonight's podcast, I will add the beep beep. But you're right. We will find a way. Of course, we will delete the names and everything. But these are real stories that we want to show to the Prime Minister of Malaysia.
Yeah. All right. Well, here's a story. For instance, someone sent it to me. I keep everyone anonymous. Yeah. But it says that my dad remarried and his ex-wife didn't allow him to meet their daughter. It's been 27 years. She's all grown up with full hatred and resentment towards my father. Little did she know that her mother prevented my father from seeing her, closed her bank account so that my father couldn't pay for child support, moving places here and there so my father couldn't track where they lived. It's despicable and disgusting for her mother to do that. Her mother did all she can to paint my father as the bad guy, such a lowlife. Someone else, for instance, for my mum to be civil with my dad and let me have a relationship with him and not changing it makes me normal, happy, and be someone who is in the right mind. I think I would have grown up depressed, rebelling, and in anger if my dad was taken away from me. Stay strong, right? Another one, same case when my mum held the custody on me and my late dad tried to take me back then. I was merely a tool for her. Growing up with a narcissistic mother is energy draining. She made me think I am a burden and made me feel I owe her something. I hope your daughter will not go through the same thing. Another one, due to this, I don't even know who my biological father is, thanks to my mother. I cut her out of my life 11 years ago, and I'm happy with that. You know, it goes on and on and on. Another one here.
Imagine when the mother thinks that she won that time, and when the kid grow up, and one of the last one that you read, that he cut off his mother from his life after knowing what happened. I mean, I don't know when there is a narcissist parent thinking that this is a competition.
Yeah, I mean, I can't understand what the mindset behind it is. I don't get why someone feels that they should cut a loving parent. Look, now, let's be realistic here. Not all parents, both mother and father, not all parents are great parents, right? But there are a lot which are great parents, and we tend to find that the ones who are great parents are the ones who are more likely to get cut off from their child in this type of situation. The ones who are not so great parents are the ones where the mother's always chasing after the father, saying, "Come and see your son, come and see your son," you know?
Yeah.
And it's such a shame. And I feel like for people to be writing this to me, and I mean, there is, as I said, there's maybe 20, 25, 30, I don't know. And that's just like one batch that I received. I think it's evident to show that a child does have issues. And here's the thing. I'm also first-hand experience of that, because I never met my dad until I was 13. And there are certain issues that I have. You know, there's barriers between my father and I, you know, like, which stems from the fact of this thing that, you know, we weren't together. There wasn't that bond when we were growing up. It does create issues. And I've obviously grown up in my life without my father as in my life, to having that father figure. And it did affect me in some way.
Yeah.
So yeah, it does. Separation and keeping a child away from one parent and raising a child as a single parent does affect the child in the long run. And ultimately, it's sad, because the parent who's done that has most likely done that for very selfish reasons. And that's a shame.
Yes, you're right. Talking about single parent, especially single mothers who claim that she are able to be a mother and a father figure to the kid. What is your opinion on that?
Well, my opinion on that is that that's true. Because I'll give you an example of that is my sister. My sister in the UK, she's a single mother. She's got two beautiful little girls. And her father of those little girls was, you know, not a great guy. And he didn't want to be a part, didn't want to play the role of father, and, you know, was still young at heart, young at mind, and had other plans for himself. So my sister cut him out, and he just, you know, she's raised the kids as a single mother, and she's done great. She plays a great role of mother and father. Now, in that situation is a lot different, because again, that's the situation where my sister's trying to chase the father to be a part of the child's life, and to play the role of father and to be there as a family, but that father doesn't want to be there.
Yeah.
So how, you know, you can only try for so long. Like, even I have a friend, and her ex-husband, she's got two kids. Her ex-husband is living in the States. He's from America. And her two boys are coming to age where now they're asking for daddy. And so they're coming into her saying, "Mommy, where's my daddy? Where's my daddy?" And when she contacts the father and says, like, "Look, your boys are asking for you. Can you video call them?" He just ignores. And to the point where she confided in me. And I said to her, like, "Well, look, why don't you, maybe it's because you're sending the message to the father. Why don't you get the boys to record a video message, and you send that video message of the boys asking their dad to call and contact?" And they did that, and they sent it to the father, and he still ignored it, because you can see they sent it to him on Messenger. You can see that the ticks came up. He's seen it. He didn't respond. So in that situation, you know, that situation, there is, you know, I think it's justifiable for then a mother to play the role of father and mother. And yes, it is possible. There are people who have that capability. And, you know, I think there is an abundance of mothers, great mothers out there, who can play the role.
Those are the mothers who...
Yeah, mother's role is a loving role. And I think...
Those are the type of mothers who call me up and congratulate us forming FRAM. They wish that their ex-husband would be a loving father and fight for... I mean, to them, they those ex-husband don't even have to fight for their rights, because the loving mother and is willing to share custody, and they want bonding with their for the kids with their biological father, so you're right when you say that the one that is suffering is the loving parent.
To say that, what you just said there, look, I've got let me just I've got like a letter, a message here, and it says, Joey, I wish my ex-husband is proactive as you in working to have a relationship with his child. Even after the parents' divorce, I knew very well the effects of not having a father figure while growing up to a child's emotional development. Until today, my son is 11 and he still randomly asks about his biological dad, even though he has a loving stepdad already. It's true that the bond is unbreakable. Hang in there. So that was like a great loving parent who would always allow the father to be a part of their child's life, congratulating me and basically, giving me a bit of a booster, saying that she wishes her ex was like that. So yeah, I relate to that,
Yeah, man. That's why we got a few mothers who becoming our advocate now, and love what we are doing. And we always welcome strong single mothers who believe that the bonding of a child should not be broken with their fathers,
See, that's great. And that's the great thing about what the Fathers' Rights Association of Malaysia is. And look, we know it says fathers' rights, but ultimately it's an organization set up to be an advocate for the idea of shared parenting, right? Co-parenting.
Yes.
So it's not necessarily just about ensuring that you're taking care of the father's rights. If a mother is in that same situation and a mother is being deprived of a relationship with a child, then the Fathers' Rights Association of Malaysia will also step up and see where they can help out that mother as well, right?
Yes, I even got calls. I become like a marriage counselor already. For the past 4 months, I received so many calls and
Uncle Faleigh,
a few calls from mothers and wife, calling me saying that I want to save my marriage. My husband is a mommy's boy. My husband is a drug addict. My husband is this. My husband is that. And whenever they call woman organization or whatever women's association, the only advice she received is to leave him. She doesn't want.
Yeah, it's not very constructive, that is it? It's not very
convenient. It's very convenient to advise like that, right? So the thing is, she doesn't want. So she was looking around here and there, and she Googled father's right for whatever reason, and she found our Facebook, and she called my number. And we talked for hours, even the first few times, when this is very passionate for me. So sometimes I just put aside my meetings and just focus on calls coming in. And she was telling me that she was, after talking for hours, she was very thankful, and I give some ideas in terms of how to solve her problems. Until some of them call the daughter, speak to me, the son speak to me, just to chat, and I give them some hope, that the father will change and will be a loving father. So father's rights is not just about rights of a father, but we want to encourage, yes, of course, shared custody and parenting, but of course to find loving fathers. We want to look for loving fathers and mothers who agree that there are such loving fathers that do not need to be in such deep depression because of the unfair judgment, simply unfair judgment that they receive from the court. We have so many fathers who call us.
Can I just intervene there? Can I just say something? Actually, I mean, you said like unfair judgment from the court, but to be honest with you, from my experience, the courts have actually been fair. And I know there are a lot of unfair judgment, which is like, I want to flip this up a little bit. Here's the thing, surprisingly, right? Before I got into this custody situation, this custody battle, A lot of people were telling me, like, you know, Joey, the laws in Malaysia are against you. Don't do it. The courts always favor the mother. You'll never get custody. You'll never get this. It's a dead end. You shouldn't go do it. It's going to be a waste. The courts always favor the mother. The courts always favor the mother. And I was sort of like, no, you know, if you've got evidence to show, then you've got a good argument. And I believe that the court should be fair and just based on a good argument and based on compelling evidence. And so I kind of rebutted that idea and went ahead with it anyway. And I did find that the courts were, surprisingly, the High Court was very, I would say the High Court was very fair. The Court of Appeal was a very different experience. Like, you know, we went in there as the winners, and the way the Court of Appeal sort of handled us, we felt like we were like criminals, as if we'd done something bad, the way they spoke with us and the way they kept shutting us down. But with the High Court's judgment was actually very fair, very spot on. And surprisingly, because the judge can only get an opinion of two parties based on what is written in an affidavit, right? The judge doesn't know everything. The judge only knows what she's reading in an affidavit and what she's seeing before her in evidence. But surprisingly, the High Court judge that overturned Patricia's custody and ruled her unfit as a mother and dismissed the application, when that got challenged in the Court of Appeal by Patricia, that High Court judge writ the summary, right, the judgment was to a T. It was as if this woman has known my ex her whole entire, she completely described her down to a T. So the reason why I'm saying that is actually not all the time will you get unfair or biased judgment from the courts. I think if you present your case in the correct manner and you can back up certain things with evidence, then you will get the judgment that you're seeking. Now, there are different circuits. Yeah? So there is the civil circuit, and then, of course, there is the Sharia circuit. Now, I can't speak for what goes on in the Sharia circuit. I believe the Sharia circuit is a little bit more difficult, a little bit more pro toward. And then, of course, you know, being the Sharia court, then a bit more, the thinking is old way thinking. They don't want to change something that's been working for many, many years. This is what it is. It comes from the Quran, and we're not going to change it. And this is what it is. So I think it might be different in the Sharia, but in civil court. So the reason why I'm saying that is because I want to say to all fathers out there, if people are telling you the same, that, oh, don't do this, you know, the courts in Malaysia always favor the mother. That's not true, because let me explain to you now, like, my daughter has only just turned 5 years old. Me and my ex were not married. My daughter's considered an illegitimate child. And I've just been awarded full sole custody.
Yeah.
So everything that they say about this idea of like, oh, it's always awarded to a mother. Oh, you're not in, you know, you weren't married. You've got no rights. That's not correct.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
It depends on the fight, though. It depends on what you're bringing to the court. And it's unfortunate that when you're going into court, when there's accusations flying left and right and it's very, very dirty, you've got to get very dirty and you've got to dig deep and pull out all the skeletons out of the closet. Yeah. Right? Which is a shame. But, you know, I believe that this idea that you will always get an unfair judgment is not right. Yes, maybe 50% of the time. But if you present your case in the correct way, which means if you've got your correct lawyers who are advising you, yes, we should put this in an affidavit. No, we shouldn't put that in an affidavit. Yes, we should come with this tone. No, we shouldn't go with that tone. Yes. Then I think that, you know, that might change the chances of you getting the result that you want, you know?
True. I mean, thanks for pointing it out, because yes, there are fathers who got bad experience with judgment from the court, but that's the thing. You cannot give up.
Yeah. But let me add to that.
There's always court of appeal. There's a high court, you know, and sometimes we are very disappointed when some of the fathers show us their legal papers and the affidavits and the submission and so on. We got fathers who pay a single lawyer up to 150,000, 200,000 and only got 4 hours a month visitation rights.
This is bad.
Fathers who only got 15 minutes video call to speak if he can with the daughter. So the thing is, yes, the father blamed the court, the law, and everything else. But when my colleague Malcolm, he's a lawyer, so when he sees some of the papers that the father's lawyer presented, he was shocked. I mean, of course, he doesn't do family law much. Now he is, but he's a good lawyer. He's a veteran lawyer, and he knows law. And there are simple, basic steps and procedure that a lawyer should do, and it's not done to some of these fathers. And obviously, they lost the case. So you're right. There is always hope.
Yeah, there is always.
When you when
Can
you
I just
when
add
you
on? Can I
continue
add on?
fighting, when you continue fighting.
Yeah, can I add on to what I was saying actually? Because also I think I need to paint the picture clearer because the custody that I've gotten now isn't based off of my original application or the original
There you
application that
go.
was made. So let me explain what happened. So my ex made an application to the courts for custody. She got the custody. She got the full custody ex parte. And the reason she got that is because she had lied to the court. She told the court that they had served me the court papers to appear in court for the custody battle by hand to an address, and I was given these papers in hand. But the thing is, the address that they listed that they served me to didn't even exist. It was a fake address. It wasn't even a real address.
Mm-hmm.
So we were able to show to the court that I'd never been served, and this has actually been fabricated. So we were able to go into the court and overturn the original ex parte order that she got, which then allowed me to then go in and defend myself against her original application. So I went in and defended myself against her original application, provided all the evidence, and in short, the judge basically ruled the mother unfit and said that the mother is unfit and her application for full custody is dismissed. Now, she did that based on evidence and stuff, right? Then the mother's gone and made an appeal at the Court of Appeal to overturn the High Court's decision. We've gone into the Court of Appeal, and the Court of Appeal has basically overturned the High Court's decision to dismiss her application for full custody based on law. Now, the problem with that is this. As I said earlier, the High Court had to write a judgment. And in that judgment, the High Court the judge writ down all the reasons why she cannot give the mother full custody, and furthermore, why she is to dismiss the mother's full custody application. And the judge predicted and said that I cannot give the mother full custody, and furthermore, I will dismiss the application based on A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and put the reasons as to why. And she used her discretion on this, okay? Now, the Court of Appeal has overturned that and basically said, well, the judge's discretion basically doesn't matter because the law says that a child under the age of 7 should be with mother. So this is the easiest one. This is what we're going for. Bam. Mm-hmm. Now, within 1 year of the Court of Appeal reinstating the mother's custody, the mother has actually gone on to do everything that the judge said she would do, and was why she couldn't allow her to have the full custody.
Yeah.
So there is this issue of like, when you're presenting evidence and stuff into the High Court, and the judge can see through the crap and see through the smoke screens and see what is actually really happening and make a prediction that if I was to give the custody to this person, this is what's going to happen. And then you get to the Court of Appeal, and the Court of Appeal is like, nah, we'll just turn it around. And then the mother goes on to continue to do everything that the judge has said she would do, right? And even worse, right? So that allowed me then to go and put an application back into the High Court and say, well, look, the mother's done A, B, C, D, E, F, G. This has happened, that's happened. This is the High Court summary. She's proven the High Court judgment to be correct. Can you look at this, and can you give me the result that I was looking for? And that's how we got the result that I was looking for. So reason why I'm saying all that is that, look, you've got to stay in the game. It may not come around the first time. If you've got the funds, if you can do it, if you've got it, you can go for the funds. If you lose at the High Court, go for the Court of Appeal. If you lose at the Court of Appeal, go for the Federal Court. I mean, my opinion on this is that, look, I'm pretty much broke in terms of finances, but we can always make back money. We can never replace back the time with our children. Like, it's been 3 years now, 2 years since I really haven't communicated with my daughter, and I can't get that time back. I can't. And there's no amount, whatever money I've spent on court fees, I would pay that money in an instant to gain back those years.
Yeah.
Someone said to me, like, Joey, here's the special device, and we'll give you, if you give us 400,000 ringgit, we'll give you back 3 years of the life that you missed out with your daughter. Of course, money is no issue.
Well, I didn't see my daughter for 4 years. I didn't see my son for 4 years, and before that, I see them alternate weekends, and it's been hard. It's been hard. But I believe other fathers are going through the same thing, and maybe going through it now. But at the end of the day, bro, as I mentioned to you before, we always need to think positively that there's always hope. You never give up. You never give up.
No, that's it.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. That's the thing with my situation, Faleigh, because there have been so many points at which I actually almost gave up, and I've like called my mom and cried on the phone with my mom and told my mom, like, look, this is taking its toll on me. I can't, everything is, I need to stop this. And my mum has sort of said to me, Joey, you've already gone so far, just keep at it, keep going, be strong. And then even like support from like the public, right? Because I have a very public account, and I've got a big following, which I'm so thankful for, because they've helped me out massively, the encouragement and support. So I think you just got to sort of keep going, and ultimately don't ever walk away from your child. Now look, it's easy for us to say this, Faleigh, right? But I can tell you one thing, and this is a problem that I'm facing now: funding. Right? It's okay to say like, yeah, go to the federal court, go to the Court of Appeal and that, but ultimately it does cost money. And, some people ain't as fortunate as what I may have been, or what the next person might have been, and their pay bracket may not allow them to be able to pursue what they need to do. So this is a thing that is more of a problem, I think, where the legal fees in order to be able to see your child are so high that it makes it almost near to impossible for someone who doesn't have the resources, the financial resources to go through it. Whereas, and if you're someone that has the financial resources, you can stay in this for the long game. You can be in a court battle for years and years and years, and possibly get the result that you want.
Yeah.
But I'll give you an example. Like, it's a bittersweet thing that what we're talking about for me, because yes, I've got the custody, but my child was abducted just a few months back, right? So my child has been abducted to Denmark, and the problem I'm facing now is that the lawyers in Denmark are really expensive. We're talking about, from 1,700 ringgit up to 2,500 ringgit per hour, per hour. And it ends up being an issue. So then you hit this sort of barrier, right? So this is what needs to happen. If there was some kind of, I don't know, funding or legal aid or some kind of, I don't know. I wish there was a bunch of really rich single fathers who had a little bit of money spare, who could all chip into this foundation and say, look, here is an X amount of money, and we're going to limit, say now there's 1 million in there. We will put up to 50,000 in funding per person, per father, to help fight their case,
Yeah.
That would be heaven sent, right? Because it would make the situation.
I was happy and shocked at the same time when you told me that your last few years before you got your big news custody of your child, you went through a crowdfunding kind of thing. Yeah,
I did. Well, okay, so let me explain that.
That is, for me, is wow. I'm so happy there's so many loving and caring people out there.
Exactly, it's wonderful, and that actually, for me, that was two things there. That one, of course, it provided the funds for me to be able to continue on to fight, but two, it gave me a moral boost, and it made me feel so blessed and so loved, and it made me it re-energized me and recharged my batteries, and thinking like, wow, like maybe this fight that I'm doing is a just fight, it is a good fight, and if it wasn't, then why are so many people willing to support? And at the time when we did crowdfunding, we're going through COVID, right? We're in MCO, and everyone is. And I'm so grateful to all those people that sort of put their hand in their pocket.
How many thousand of people supported you? Do you have a number?
No, I think it was about 400 people donated, and we raised 64,000 ringgit in a week, in 1 week. But here's the thing. Let me explain.
Only people and raised up to 60,000.
Yeah, 60. We got 64,400
Oh my
donors.
God, there's so many loving people out there.
Yeah. And there's so many people that can relate to this situation. And I think that the amount of people and the amount of funds that we raised in that short period of time speaks for itself.
Yeah.
Now, I'm very lucky that I'm exposed to a huge audience of people, so my message could get out fast. So, I think, but this is something that resonates with a lot of people around the world. So, if anyone out there is struggling with funding for lawyers, there is no harm. You've absolutely got nothing to lose in setting up a crowdfunding. All you need to do is let go of your ego, because here's the thing. It took a lot of encouragement for me to set up the funding. And how the funding came about was when I lost the Court of Appeal, I was out of money. I didn't have the money to go to the federal court. I was beaten, I was defeated, and I was ready to give up. And then, you know, my Instagram followers and the public were just messaging me and saying, Joey, set up crowdfunding. We want to support. And to be honest with you, my ego was getting the better of me. And I was like, no, I'm not going to set up crowdfunding, because then I'm basically taking donations from strangers and I'm bearing out all that I'm broke and I've spent all my money on this. And after a few days, I kind of let go of my ego on the matter. I realized to myself, you know what, if I don't do this, then I don't actually have any way to move forward in my situation. So let me try it.
Yeah.
And let me see, you know, who knows, maybe we might raise 100 ringgit, maybe we might raise 100,000 ringgit, who knows? And we surprisingly raised 64,000 ringgit, right? So it was huge.